Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and I am so excited to be sharing my love of makeup and beauty with you all. By the time you're seeing this video, I am already traveling back to the UK to start my PhD. If you've been watching my videos for the past few months, you know that I've spent quite a long time preparing to move with all of my things, including my rather large makeup collection. And I've had a few requests of people asking me how I travel with my makeup and how I move it, because I am flying, I am going quite a long ways, and I won't be mailing my items, I'll be taking them with me. And so people have been wanting some tips on how I travel with my makeup. Obviously, travel has been kind of interrupted for these past year and a half, 2 years, but hopefully we're starting to see things open back up again. So I'd like to share what I've learned moving with my makeup to help you learn how to travel with yours. So I have 5 main tips. They're in no particular order and they can be used for any size of travel. If you're moving with an entire collection or you're just vacationing with a few items, these will still apply. So if you'd like to learn how I travel with my makeup, stick around. Step number 1 is to protect your powders. Powders are the most fragile part of traveling with makeup and they're the most likely to break, and they're also going to be very messy when they do because they'll kind of explode everywhere. So you really want to avoid them shattering. What I do personally is any palettes or compacts that I think are likely to shatter, I will put like cotton rounds in the palettes over top of the shadows. You could also use paper towels or things like that just inside the palette. And then if the palette doesn't close, I would elastic band it shut with the cotton rounds and stuff inside it. That helps to keep the powders from breaking. It has a little bit more of a buffer. And if it does break, it's going to trap that powder in so it doesn't spread all over your things. Another really handy thing to do with powders is to pack them tightly together rather than loose. If they're bouncing around inside your bag, they're more likely to hit into things or each other and shatter. So a good tip would be to put them really tightly together. You can pack compacts in a sock, especially if it's a sock you don't need, and that way they're all sort of held together tightly and they don't move around as much. And pack things around them so when you're packing your suitcase, there's not a lot of empty space. This is really going to help keep them from bouncing around and bouncing into each other and breaking. In my personal opinion, powders are going to be the most challenging part when you're traveling or packing with makeup, so I focus on keeping them secure first. The next part is going to be tackling pump products. Remember that if you are flying and you are checking a bag, your liquids should go in your checked bag unless they're under 100 mils in the container. Now, most makeup is gonna fit in that 100 ml container, but if you've got a lot of it or you've got bigger skincare and things like that, you're gonna wanna check them. When you check a bag, it goes in the cargo hold, and the cargo hold does not have the same pressure control or temperature control that the interior of the cabin does. So your liquids could freeze or they could become pressurized really easily, and pumps are more susceptible to that pressurization, in my opinion. I don't know the science, maybe I'm wrong, but I've pretty much only ever had pump products leak, not sealed products. I usually recommend putting pump products inside a plastic bag, either one plastic bag per pump product or a couple similar products together. Anything that you're not too concerned about them potentially mixing or touching each other. So you probably wouldn't want to put like a foundation with like a diaper cream if you're traveling with a baby. It just doesn't make sense to get those two mixed up. But 2 moisturizers together is probably okay. This way that if the products do leak, they're sealed and they're likely not to leak out of the bag. I usually double bag my products, so I will put the pumps in a plastic zippered Ziploc bag and then I will put that bag inside my makeup bag. That way, if it does leak, the worst case scenario is it ruins some makeup and not my clothes, because that's the worst experience ever, trying to clean foundation out of pants. No. Again, in my opinion, oil-based products, particularly face oils and hair oils, are going to be the biggest culprits for leaking. So you really want to make sure those are secure, and oils are also the worst to clean. So personally, I try and avoid traveling with oils if I can. In this case, I don't have much choice because I still have oil-based products that I'm going to take with me, but on vacation, I will try and avoid oils if I can. This next one is lid products, specifically anything in a tube. So that would be lipsticks, pencil eyeliners, lip liners, anything where the lid is just sitting on the tube. I don't know about you, but have you ever had like a lipstick in a backpack or a purse and the lid pops off and you just end up getting lipstick all over the inside of your bag. It's awful. It's so gross to clean, and you probably ruin the lipstick. I usually, when I'm traveling, will put like a little sticker or a small piece of tape or something just on the lid just to help it stay closed. It reduces the likelihood that the lid is just going to fly off in your bag somewhere, and that way you're not going to get bright red or black or whatever all over everything else. Again, lipstick is really difficult to get out of clothing, so is black eyeliner, so you really want to try and avoid anything where that product is likely to come in contact with your clothing. If you put them in a plastic bag, that also helps, or keeping them in a makeup bag can help reduce that as well. And that way, if the lid does come off for whatever reason, they're just drying on the inside of the plastic instead of all over your things. The sticker tactic or the tape is actually also really handy if you are someone like me who tends to overpack for vacations, because when you get home, it gives you a really quick glance at which ones did you use. Which of these products did you open? And hopefully that will help you reduce the next time you pack, because you'll remember, oh, I didn't use 7 lipsticks, I probably don't need to pack them. If you're like me and you overpack. If you don't overpack, that probably won't help you. The next one is mascaras and liquid liner pens. These products dry out really fast anyway, but in my opinion, they tend to dry out faster after I've flown with them. I'm not sure if that's real or if I'm just imagining it, but I find if I've flown with a product once or twice, it tends to dry out almost immediately, whereas it wouldn't have done that if I didn't. I like to try and combat this as best I can, again using plastic Ziploc bags, where I will put the tubes of mascara or the liquid liner pens in, and then I try and roll it up as tight as I can to get as much possible air out as I can and seal it. This doesn't totally prevent it from drying out, but it helps to just not have so much air in the bag. That way the bag doesn't burst as well. It can also help to avoid eyeliner pen leaks. Liquid eyeliner pens are technically full of liquid and they can become pressurized and burst, and I've had that happen and it's really unfortunate, so the plastic bag also helps to prevent that. I also, as a general rule, try not to fly with too much mascara or liquid eyeliner. I try and use up as much as I can before I moved. I also try and only bring what I'll need for the trip, and if it's a really long trip, sometimes I will try and just buy mascara or eyeliner when I get to where I'm going rather than bringing a bunch with me. I think that just helps to avoid having it get dry and gross. And finally, tip number 5 is definitely one that is easier said than done, but that is try and be realistic about how much makeup you can bring and how much makeup you should bring. This is going to look very different for everyone, but personally, if I'm going to the beach and I'm going to be at the beach every day, all day, I'm going to bring very little makeup because I need to put sunscreen on my face all the time, and I don't like really heavy waterproof makeup, so it's just going to come off in the waves anyway. I will then maybe bring a little bit for like a night out, but usually I don't bring any. Whereas, for example, my last trip to New York, we were going to do several Broadway plays, we were going to do some nice nights out. I'll bring a little bit more makeup for something like that because I anticipate wearing more of it. But trying to be realistic about what you'll need on the trip. In this case, for me, I am gone for at least 3 years. I have a 3-year student visa and then potentially a 3-year work visa after that. So it's really hard to estimate what makeup I'll need throughout the next year, 2, 3 years. And it was very difficult for me to try and cut down my collection, but I really tried to get rid of any sort of dead weight. Flying is expensive, and having really heavy bags is really expensive. So it's important to not fly with things you're not going to use. Again, this is absolutely easier said than done. I am not the best packer. I tend to overpack, particularly when it comes to makeup, but in general. But just try your best to be as realistic as you possibly can. Another concern is the more makeup you fly with, the more products you are risking getting broken or lost in transit, which is never fun for anybody. I had a tube of my favorite lip gloss go missing while traveling once, and it sucked. I really recommend just trying your best to bring only what you're going to need to the best of your knowledge. You can't predict everything, but just to the best of your knowledge, try. So those are my top 5 tips for traveling or moving by air, specifically with makeup. Have you traveled or moved with makeup before? If you've got any tips you'd like to share, leave them in the comments so we can all learn together. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to see you back in my next one, so please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!